I guess we're gonna go live in just a second.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so we're live there. Let me.
Yeah, this is the wrong class. Yeah, I'm looking at. I'm like, let me go to the. Yeah, I'm thinking about taking a semester off, but I'm worried that it's gonna be hard for me to get back in the groove once I. It's like now I'm. I'm
If
strictly.
anything, since
Yeah,
you're getting it paid for, just take one class.
yeah. But see what it is, I got to drive, and I haven't been driving lately. I got to like January to get to a certain level.
Oh, okay.
I got to drive. I got to do like basically 200 trips in 90 days.
Oh my god.
It's not bad though. No, that's not bad. I just don't have the energy right now.
I know you had to work at least 20 hours a week for them to pay for the tuition.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
But I
Yeah,
have a
no, I
lot of
got
sick time and vacation time that I want to use.
yeah. Oh, if you take sick time and vacation time, it don't count towards the weekly the
No,
20 hours.
it does count towards it. That's why I want to take advantage of it.
Oh yeah.
It's hard working two jobs.
Yeah, man. That's I got the good thing is that Uber is just like a part-time, something I do on the side. So I can stop that anytime I want to.
Yeah, that is nice.
But I'm gonna go today though. I'm going today. Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't give me any. Okay, so I guess we can fire it up. Let me
Okay,
see. Did you watch the movie?
I did.
Did you like it?
I did. It was really good. I never
Yeah,
seen it before.
yeah. Me neither. Me neither.
Did you guys rent it?
Yeah, yeah. I really
Uh,
didn't. Yeah.
I got the free trial for Apple TV, and
Mm-hmm.
then they give you another trial for the Stars subscription that they have. And so I ended up getting it basically for free because I did the trial period.
Yeah. You
Nice.
better, you better make sure you better make sure you what it is. Counsel it.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Look on your statement, see look on your bill statement, see a weird charge. You're like, wait a minute.
Like, where did this come from?
Yeah,
$87.
yeah, yeah,
Oh gosh, I hope not.
yeah.
No, I just
Yeah,
took
Yeah.
advantage
no.
of it though. I do have to remember to cancel it.
Yeah, they
It's
have a
for
weird
a
way
month,
of doing that.
so that's nice.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so there's two parts again, right?
Yeah.
First one is on those videos.
Yeah, the first part is on the first two videos. The what I learned from Nelson Mandela and the Desmond Tutu and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And then the second part is about the Selma movie. But I'm learning that in each one of these courses, every week is dedicated to women, and then the other week is dedicated to African Americans. It's like this is the Black Week. Yeah, every course. Notice it.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Let's see if that's a continuing trend for next week then.
yeah. And then it's gonna be. I'm gonna see. It's gonna be one on gender equality.
Probably.
Yeah. But I did like this one because it did bring us to a more modern age, even though the
Yeah,
Desmond Tutu, yeah,
I would agree. I even
yeah,
like the videos that he had us watch. the TED Talk one and like these two
You
ones.
didn't?
No, I did like them. I thought they were
Oh,
really
yeah,
good. I thought they were
yeah,
really good.
yeah. I could have just watched them two and not the movie. Yeah,
I can't believe how long it was,
yeah, man.
but it was good. So for that first one, we're supposed to pick two quotes from that first video.
Hmm.
The first one that I picked, it's from the beginning of it, and he talks like he's talking about like how he's talking about Africa, right? I believe, and how he
Hmm.
says it's a place where people, animals, and ecosystems teach us about a more interconnected world. I really
Yeah,
like that quote because it emphasizes, it kind of goes into what he later on speaks about as well, as like, and I think that's what I really like about Africa in a sense, where it's like they're not materialistic and they don't really care about like anything else but just like nature and like living with it, you know what I mean? And like how he's saying it's interconnected, you know? And I think that as a country, I think we could learn more to be that way. And then I think it would be better for us instead of being so like, we live in such a fast-paced world too that we don't really appreciate like nature over here, you know? It's always about like material things that
yeah,
don't really matter at the end of the day. We got to take care of our planet and everything too, you know, appreciate what it does for us. And I don't know, I thought that was pretty cool that
hmm,
he did that. And then how he explains it, like he says the meaning of the, what is that word? Forgot what it was called. The
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu, yeah, that. I like the definition that he put it. He put it, I am because of you, or people are not people without other people.
Yeah,
It's not an idea or value, but it's one that I can certainly think at the time is worth building on. And it is true, you know. We do got to work together and come together to in order to like build a better place and like reach our goals even to leadership status. Like you got to work as a team, and if you guys, things tend to fail when there's a lot of division and chaos in that aspect, you know. So that's why I kind of like that he said that second verse too.
hmm. Okay, I guess I can go next. Yeah. Yeah, like I was telling Ben earlier, I like that video, the TED Talk.
Mm-hmm.
I guess his name Boyd Verdi. Um, I like he was a it was a good speaker to me. Man, I was like when it was over, I was like, man, that's it.
I know it's really short,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, yeah, it was, yeah. But the two quotes that I got was 3 minutes and 23 seconds into the movie when he talked about the Ubuntu. I am because of you, or people are not people without other people. Um, I kind of like that quote because it is true that whenever we decide to work together as a community, as a race of people or co-workers, you know, we always do better. And sometimes I think people lose sight of that for the simple fact that it's like everyone has their own selfish agenda. But when you take the time out to put others first, you understand that you know what, some of the same needs that they need, you need as well. And my second quote was 6 minutes into the video when he said, "And there was something so beautifully African about it to me, the small house with a huge heart." And um, I like that quote because sometimes, especially for me, and I'm gonna take this to my work. And I was working at this company years ago, and it was just like about 6, 7 people in the department compared to some of the other larger departments. And man, our department was just fun. You know, we would have potlucks. You know, they gave me a baby shower for my daughter.
Aw.
Yeah, it was just like sometimes when you get the right people and the right mixture, you know, it can be a lot of love and a lot of caring from a smaller group of people than you normally would get from a larger group of people. Yeah, I thought that was so nice. He said this small house with a huge heart in it. And that's how it was, man. And every time we needed people to come from other departments, they would stand it. It would be a line forming like, I want to go over there. I want to go over there. It's because, we treated each other with respect and we relied on one another. And man, yeah. So that was my two quotes about that.
I think that's part of the reason why it's nice to work in small groups sometimes too.
Yeah.
You get that
Hmm.
personal relationship with the group, and I don't think.
Yeah, like even this, like, can you imagine being in a group with 10 other students right now? Yeah, we'd be lost.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
It makes a difference. You gotta have that personal relationship.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I was gonna also say, I like when he said that alligator hit his leg. But
It
then,
drives me crazy. That's
yeah,
so crazy.
yeah, the guy, I should have put something about Sully.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I thought the story about the elephant was cool too,
Oh yeah,
to go
yeah,
outside of like just connecting with other people, but like I
yeah,
said, to take care of like how animals are also like taking care of each other. That's cool.
yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, man, that guy's man. That was. I like TED Talks. They just, I don't know what they do, but man, they just,
Something about them.
yeah. I've never watched a bad one where I was like, man, I ain't like that TED Talk. No, I swore another one for the TED Talk. Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
1 second, guys. Let me take my dog out. She came knocking on my door.
Yeah, you got your niece and nephew. I got my son. He got his dog. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the the quotes that I also chose was the "I am because we are," or "I am because of you." Um, like you guys already mentioned, it kind of speaks to us as like humans, and I guess trying to put in perspective and like how important the need for us to be, I guess, truthful and connected with one another. We we kind of tend to stray away from that, and the way that he put it in his, I guess, in his verbiage, made it seem like he had this like intense open heartedness in himself, and
Hmm.
trying to like put that into Ubuntu. Trying to say like that they're beautiful and in like the kind of like a little translation, like kind of just be kind to one another and keep it in that sense. The
Yeah.
second one that I decided to choose was right after he talked about getting bit by a crocodile, and was it Nelson that went into the water and pulled him out of the channel. Um, he said, I'm a more collective society that we are in a more collective society that we care about our own well-being and it is connected to the well-being of others. So in that sense of things, he was yeah, I guess he was unselfishly aware of the crocodile and the dangers between him and the crocodile and the vulnerable person, and he still decided to jump in there to get him
Hmm.
out, take care of him, take him to safety, and then, unselfishly, did what he needed to help his buddy survive. And that's a lot of things that people today don't take into account, how how we tend to care about ourselves, mostly just ourselves, and don't care about other people that can help us out in the future. And I feel
Mhm.
like that for him was a very impactful moment for him, and it helped him, become who he is, and obviously now doing TED Talks for us, sharing his
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, I really liked how he gave credit to the guy Sully and how much he meant to him. Every once in a while we lose track of people that make impacts in our life. But I liked how he, had so much respect for that guy. Plus he saved his life. you know, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's one thing. And when we was talking about earlier, being about the PowerPoint, one of the benefits that I like about it is it is making me remember a lot of people, who's been an integral part of me becoming an effective leader. And it's been a lot of bad days, you know, but having the right people around you sometimes it makes it better. Yeah, that's what I've been doing, taking a walk down memory lane when I do the power. It's easy for me to do the PowerPoint because I'm just taking a trip down memory lane.
Yeah, I like that too, because it gives us a chance to kind of just like make our brain work and think about like who made us to who we are today, and kind of like molded us
Yeah,
to be who we are. And
yeah,
I find it cool, and
yeah.
finding some quotes in the book that are relevant to our, at least my situation, is pretty easy. I find a quote that's like, wow, like that speaks to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wove it into how it's affected me. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really cool way just to apply what we're learning to our personal lives too. Like, why are we learning the things that we're learning right now? So we could see it in our, like how it affects us in our lives and how we could apply it to our, we're learning about leadership. So at least we could improve
Mm-hmm.
on it. So it's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Any more about question one?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For the second one, from what I got from the video, I think it was interesting to see how a leader was implementing, showing his followers on forgiveness. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's very important for us to do. And it is true, it's not easy to forgive also.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have a prime example, I think we could overcome those struggles of learning to forgive someone. You see other people being so hurt and holding on to these certain grudges and everything. I think if you see where if you have people, and I think, like I said, like you mentioned earlier about having people in the right place and being surrounded by the good, like right people in your life, will teach you how to overcome those struggles too. Like, um my mom has taught me so much on forgiveness. She's been through a lot, especially like just her growing up and like her dad not being in the picture, and like even what my dad did to her, like he cheated on her and did certain things that, like, thankfully I was still little but I didn't see, but I seen her like, and them working towards like fixing all that issues that they were going through. So I think I became more of a forgiving person because she taught me that, and not to be taken advantage of or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but to work towards like letting go of grudges too, because when you hold on to something like that, it affects your personal, like your inner self, and like you end up being
Yeah.
bitter. And if you're going to be holding grudges, then let it, by the anytime somebody offends you, you're gonna end up with
Mm-hmm.
nobody in your life, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just not worth it. Um, and then how we can use it in the aspect of our personal lives or in groups. I think, like I said, it's just being examples for our followers, or even just, we don't even have to be in that leadership, but just being someone that could be an example for another work person to like work towards that goal that they want to reach, you know, whether it is forgiveness or not, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like.
that's why sometimes it's a good exercise to ask yourself when you find yourself arguing with a lot of people to ask yourself, look yourself in the mirror and saying, am I being too sensitive?
Right, right.
I'm telling you, it'll help you. Like sometimes when I find myself struggling to connect with people, I honestly just look myself in the mirror and say, are you being too sensitive?
Mhm.
And sometimes I say, yeah, I'm telling you, everybody get in their ways.
For me, that's the most cases. Maybe it's because I'm sensitive, you know.
Yeah, yeah, but
You gotta
you
shake
know,
it off.
yeah, yeah. But then, but okay, you can be too sensitive. You can be personally sensitive, and then you can also be sensitive to the situation. It's like,
Yeah.
nah, I'm just sensitive to this situation.
Mhm.
You know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like the second video as well. The one, the truth and reconciliation. I had heard of Desmond Tutu, but I really didn't understand what he was about. So I kind of like the fact that I learned something about him. And what I got from the video was, um, sometimes you got to come to grip with your past in order to make a new future. One of the things that I guess the South African people, well, government was trying to do was to bury what happened to these people, or not understand why they felt the way they felt, and it's because it was an injustice done against them. So that's what Desmond Tutu came in and said. You know what? We don't have to harp on it, but at least we need to recognize it. And I like the fact that he used that to heal. You know, in order to forgive, you have to look at the past and then come to grips with it, and then that's when you can start the healing process. And one of the another things I took from the video was that sometimes you just got to be the truest version of yourself, even if no one else wants it. Because remember in that video, they wanted him to take off his clergy thing, and he was like, "Nah, I'm okay." And when they was pressing him, he said, "I'm not taking it off because this is what the people want and what the people need." And actually, it was through religion that they was able to forgive and move on, because they saw how he was able to, I guess the word of God coming from him meant a lot to the people. And sometimes as a leader, you got to find different ways to understand, what's the best way to motivate your people to get things achieved. Yeah. And that was with me with one of the things when it was one company one company I worked at. I just, for some reason, I was just hell bent on moving up. Like I just wanted, like I seen the opportunity to move up. So I just focused on that. And in the process, my current team was like, man, we don't really even know Vernon, This guy, he seemed like he doesn't even care. And then it wasn't until I started talking about my family and started showing that I was a family man and I was a good brother, a good son. And I opened up, because that is the truest version of me, of that I care. And I didn't get promoted, but but I built a stronger connection with my team, because I started to be a more authentic and truer version of myself. That's just like Desmond Tutu did. I think if he would have came in a situation and not try to be a pastor or a father, I could think he was a father or a pastor. I don't know which one. Well, I think if he didn't use his religious points of views, I don't think they would have got anything done.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
I second that.
Yeah.
I completely agree with both of you guys. It's definitely, I guess, different than what a lot of people would have done in the situation. Some people probably would have, just kept it the way it was, and Tutu took the initiative and decided to, not you know, like you guys mentioned, not forget about it, but just recognize that it happened and try to move forward. um, for my answer, it's pretty similar to your guys. You know, he was part of an organization um, where he had to like uncover the truth
Mm-hmm.
behind the human rights violation that was going on in South Africa against themselves and all the different races there. And just like you guys already mentioned in your guys' discussion, uh, not the way I wrote it is showing them to forgive what happened, uh, or showing them how to forgive, but not forget what happened and use it as a learning experience. It's uh, I find myself being open to using it as a learning experience most of the time because that's really what I guess in a less uh, serious situation, this is people's rights, but like for me, if I mess up on something, I'm like, oh, now I know for the next time not to mess this up. Instead of like, oh, dude, I messed this up. Like I'm gonna keep messing up because I did it this one time. I'm gonna just keep messing up. And I feel like some people um, use that to just create negative energy towards themselves and towards others, which isn't needed. When I used to work in retail, that's how my manager used to be. He was like, hey, like if you mess up, you're basically done. Like you get to go home for the day. Like, dude, like, nah, bro. Like if somebody messes up, dude, like, all right, tell them, hey, like you fucked up. Like let's talk about it, and then let's figure out ways that we can go ahead and move past this. But they didn't, man, and that's something that once I'm put in a situation where I can go ahead and tell others, hey, it's okay to mess up. Let's just try to move forward and do that. I'm for sure gonna try to do that.
Yeah, that was good. I don't think people realize the importance of forgiveness either. They tend to forget that, or it's like they tend to forget where they started from too, as if they learned everything right away and got everything right away, and they didn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, hold up, I'm learning just as much as you are. Because I'm not at your level yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys ever been put in a situation where like you gotta like so like there's you training somebody and then somebody else training somebody. Well, like me, like I'm real patient, especially with somebody that doesn't know jack shit about the job. Like I break it down to like oh you put the pen here. At least this is what I do. I put the pen right here, and if you don't want to do that, you don't have to, But this is just what I do to make my life easier. You count like this. You talk to customers like this, and then there's other people that they're just like, all right, go ahead and do that, and then if you fuck up, then that's when I'll critique you. Instead of kind of walking them through the system, be like, all right, so you want to kind of like pick up this box and throw it right here. You scan it right here. You throw it into this sector, and then you're done. Instead of like somebody was like, hey, there's that box. Figure out what to do with it.
Well, I hate when people train like that. Like they don't explain it, or they just are like, okay, here it is, figure it out.
Yeah, because let's say
So,
you do it the wrong way for 6 months to a year, and then you're put in a situation where you gotta train somebody. You're training somebody the wrong way because that's how you were taught. It's just a little
Yeah.
snowball effect.
Yeah. But that's why you gotta be I do believe is understanding in everything you do. And at some point you gotta, once you I think too many times, too many people just go along with the flow and they don't wanna, create ripples. But man, when I was working at this one company, I knew the guy was trading me wrong because he thought I was his replacement. And I was just a part-time employee. I'm like, I don't care about this job, man. So I just had to tell him, like, man, you know what? No, I'm okay. I don't need you no more.
yeah.
You know. And then he was like, man, what's going on? I just was honest with him. I said, man, you're not showing me right. Every time when the supervisor come around and ask me what we doing, you he and ha in his face. But yeah, Vernon understands how to do this and do that. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, no, I don't. Yeah. Like, no, I don't. I don't understand none of that. Because one of the things that people gotta understand, you know, you don't, when you train someone, you train them for them to be on their own, not when you always around. That ain't you know, if you can't leave a person, they not fully trained.
Yep.
Yeah. So I just took it upon myself to train myself. And you know, I got it with some other co-workers and stuff. That's the part of Ubuntu, you know, is that, you know, other people helping other people. And man, when I got up with the sec, when I got with them other people, they was like, "Yeah, come on, Brandon, man, we'll show you." And it was pretty cool, man. I don't want to go, you know, but I had never learned how to drive a stand-up forklift. And I had got licensed in the sit-down version. Man, it was like about 3 or 4 employees, man, took me in the back, created this whole open space, and taught me how to drive a forklift, a
I mean,
stand-up
oh wow.
forklift. It was like, cause they was, I felt bad. They was like, "Come on, Vernon, get the we called it the Joe. Vernon, get the Joe. We got to get a refrigerator down." I'm like, "I don't know how to drive the Joe." They was like, "Man," they took it outside. Like when they got real slow in the store, man, they created a whole obstacle course and taught me how to. Man, I got a raise because of that too. Because that, like, in order to get the maximum raise, you got to be proficient in that equipment. And I just never, because I didn't learn how. I never learned how to use it. I never took that version of the raise. But yeah,
Yeah, I like that, man.
yeah.
Taking the initiative.
But yeah, that's what I should have. Let me see. What I that was my number four. Nah, I'm just okay. That was my number four
Oh,
answer.
yeah,
Nah, nah,
yeah.
Was it?
nah, nah, nah.
Um,
That is, I was just, yeah. We go back to that one. Yeah.
For three, though,
Okay.
since I feel like a lot of that TED Talk video, what for my answer for at least was like, it could go to a lot of what they're talking about. This
Hmm.
they're talking about, you know. Um, but the one that I chose, since it's the recent chapter that we read, that it does kind of like the author talks about how creating a climate of trust. And I think if we were to implement this in our leadership, you know, our management and all this,
Hmm.
I think it's a perfect way to build that trust, to get to where we need to be with our team, you know, and to have that understanding of each other, and to making sure that we're all on the same goal. And then essentially at least challenging the process too at the end of the
Hmm.
day, you know. So like you said, you don't want to just, you know, a lot of people are afraid to disturb the flow and don't want to create any kind of issues. But in order to make that change that needs to be made, you kind of have to challenge it. And, you know, you got to create some waves at
Yeah,
the
you do.
So that's what I put for it at least.
Okay. Yeah, for my question number three, I put two quotes that came from both came from chapter 9. Um, and they well, it's part of I guess it's the fourth principle in that whole series, which is enable others to act. Um, in chapter 9, foster collaboration. One of the quotes from the book is trust is required to build collaboration and promote relationships where people work together cooperatively. That's basically what Ubuntu is to me, is that you know, you working together, building relationships, and you know what I'm saying, using that relationship to work together. As you've seen in the TED talk with Sully and the I can't think of the guy name. Boyd, you know, they worked together when they was going on them safaris and everything, to the point to where, you know, when it was time for Sully to save his life, you know, he knew how to, he did what he had to do to save his life. And that's come from working together. Also, like you said with the elephant, I I was surprised that he made that connection with the elephant, to where the elephant that was I guess was disabled had the bad legs, and how, you know, even animals can still show how good it is to promote relationships and work together. And my second one was it came from I didn't put that in. It was show concern for others. When others know you will put their interests ahead of your own, then they will hesitate. They won't hesitate to trust you. And that's a big part of being a leadership and being a leader is that you have to show people you care about them, and when you do, they'll trust you more. Man, I don't know where I picked this up at. I think it was a seminar where the guy that was talking, he said something to me that was profound. He said, majority of your employees work for you, not the company. They do things because they want to appease you, because you're nice to them, and you care for them, not so much the company. Now, sometimes you get people that work for money, but for the most part, when you need people to come in on Saturday or you need people to stay late, they don't do it because they need the money. They doing it because you asking them, and they trust you, and they got a faith and belief in you, because of what you've done in the past. Like sometimes I used to get on my when I worked at another company, I had this. We was equals in two different departments, and he used to be like riding his employees hard. And I was like, man, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna get tired of you. And sure enough, like whenever we needed them to work Saturday or stay late, his people was like, man, I'll holler at you, deuces. Yeah. But then what's funny, we had to work a holiday, and the management team told me, get anybody, and you just have to train them on the fly. And it was like about 3 or 4 of his employees that was like, yeah, Vernon, no problem, man. We'll come in for you. And I knew they wouldn't come in for him. Yeah, I knew they wouldn't. It's because you build trust with people. I think that's the overriding theme of this whole module is trust, and how you build it with people.
Yeah, man. I like that, man. Just I guess piggybacking on the experience that I had in retail too, we have a we have a manager and then 2 like assistant managers and then like 7 floor leads that are kind of like the on duty managers that aren't always cooped up in their office. But there was 7 of them, and just like you mentioned, you got to have that trust with your leaders because they work for you.
Yeah.
And there was two managers, that they'd always help me out with anything. They'd have my back when the customer was being stupid. They they were solid leaders. And whenever they were like, hey, can you stay? Shit, can you pull a double? Work 8 hours and then work another 8 hours. Hell yeah, I'll work another 8 hours for you. I don't care, as long as you're the manager on duty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know if I need them for anything, they'll have my back. But if
Mhm.
another manager that like talks shit behind my back, they don't they're never seen on the floor. They're not talking to customers. They're not communicating with their associates, checking up on their welfare, giving them 15-minute breaks here and there, and then they're the ones bringing people up. Like I ain't gonna like shit. I ain't staying for you, man. Like you ain't here
Mhm.
for me. I ain't here for you. You know. So I
Mhm.
like that you mentioned that, man. That's
Yeah.
important because I didn't really think about it that way until you mentioned it.
Yeah. But actually, it was when I took an earlier class, and this is like having people advocate for you and having people that like you is one of the ways you can get promoted. When you know what I'm saying, when you go up, like say if it was a job opening, the amount of people that you have that love and respect you and care for you, man, that counts towards you being promoted or not, because they want to make sure they get the right person to fit that position. You need people to advocate for you. And even if it's employees in other department, like you said, being like, man, um, the guy that you wanted to go work for, when it's time for him to get promoted, and they came to you and said, man, how is this guy? You wouldn't do nothing but speak glowingly of the person. You wouldn't say, oh man, he crap, because you like the guy. Yeah. And the same way, like you, Eileen, that your manager at Starbucks, say if she was up for a regional manager position, and they came to you and said, Eileen, what do you think about so and so? You're gonna be like,
Let me tell
like
you.
this, look,
Let me tell you, I got a whole
yeah, right. I hate her.
Page,
I hate
page
her.
one.
Yeah. So that's why it's important to
Yeah.
have people to have. Yeah, you gotta, you even when you go into like cross departments, treat all employees like you know what I'm saying, like they're yours, because you will never know when you may need them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can, man. I kind of, it's crazy because the quote that I chose is kind of like both of your guys's, but a little bit different too. It's from earlier on in the book.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if we were supposed to choose one from this module or not, but
No, 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 no. It just
I,
said the book.
yeah, I felt like this one was kind of, I liked it. Also, it says page 37, leaders foster collaboration by building trust and facilitating relationships. You have to engage all those who must make the project work, and in some way,
Hmm.
all who must live with the results. And I think the authors would think too to challenge the process by trying to find the difference in standing against those who wanted to keep it the same, and him wanting to make it a little bit different
Hmm.
than how it was.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Man,
man.
let me ask you a question. Do you all like the textbook?
The
The
book?
leadership challenge one that we're reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think it brings up a lot of like good points
Hmm.
because there is some leaders that are really bad, like what you mentioned earlier. And
Hmm.
you know, I think Starbucks just has a big issue of like not getting um like views or opinions from like the baristas. They go straight to
Hmm.
the managers. So like one of my coworkers, like we were at the same level, but he would always try to talk down to me, and I'm like, we're both shift leads. Like, how are you gonna try to tell me how to do my job? I know how to do
Hmm.
my job. And he would even disrespect the baristas. But because he was so good at kissing butt to the manager and making him known, like he always put an effort to have a good relationship with upper management, that he
Hmm.
got away with so much stuff. It was crazy. And he actually just got promoted too to
Oh
becoming
wow.
Good for
getting a
him.
cold store. And I'm
He,
like, this is definitely like why a lot of people quit, why a lot of people are leaving the company. They're hiring these people that are on power trips that just like to be condescending. And I'm like,
Hmm.
this is crazy. If they only were to listen to the baristas, I think they would be in better like shape for sure.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're the ones that are doing the hard work. We're the ones that
Yeah.
are dealing with these customers, whether they're nice, rude, or whatever it is. Like we set the tone for that company at the end of the
Yeah.
day. So they
Yeah.
should be taking care of them, not just management. Management doesn't really, I mean, they do what they have to do, but they're not on the floor like the way
Yeah.
the baristas are. So their opinions
Hmm.
matter at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. That is when I my current job, I didn't when I got promoted, I mean when I got hired, it was a lot of processes that I was unfamiliar with, like soldering, crimping, injection molding. But I made a point to understand how to do each one of the processes, not so much where I can physically sit down and do it, but just understand it from an operator standpoint of the challenges of the job. And like for like when they was working on the mold machine, one of the things that I realized that they was doing their own material handling. So it was hard for them to keep up the pace when they got to go get their own totes, get their own boxes. So I made a material handler, somebody to just focus. You bring them their stuff, you take their stuff away, and man, the productivity increased. Like you said, sometimes, and it's hard for managers too to
Mhm.
to be fed information from people that's below them. But I think that's the most important way to succeed, really.
Yeah.
You know?
At least have a good relationship with all of them.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Now I understand that a manager, because as they say, it's a saying, as you go up in manager, the less you should know about the things on the floor. Like as you elevate them, yeah. Like the CEO Starbucks don't know how to make a large venti. You know,
Caramel macchiato, for sure. It's crazy,
yeah,
man.
yeah, right. He don't
That's
know that,
heavy
but
for you.
yeah, but
It's
you
crazy.
know, yeah, yeah. Um,
But
Yeah,
hopefully,
anything?
legend.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I said just hopefully that changes for business in the aspect, you know?
Yeah,
Like listen to the people that are doing the work for your company,
yeah.
you know? But,
But then it also has to go to a lot of like how human being taking it upon yourself to you know
oh,
to get some formal leadership training or knowledge by going to college. And you'd be surprised. People just get promoted. Yeah, okay, it's a job opening. Yeah, I want to work now. They don't have training. They don't. No one teaches them how to be leaders. They
no.
just,
Sign me up.
yeah, right. Oh, I make $2. I make $2 extra. Yeah, yeah. But that's you notice those people they quit or they be stressed out or they
All
never
the
they yeah fighting other employees. You gotta have a temperament to be a leader. You can't. This is not for everyone. Yeah. Okay,
um,
that was I'm sorry. Go ahead.
so for number 4, right? We want to move on to number 4,
Hmm.
though, guys. Um, I think it's funny because so my answer is basically like going based off what we've been talking about how to, be there for people because in return it comes back to us too.
Hmm.
So for that, I kind of related. I like to be there for people, especially for my coworkers. Like even if they need somebody to vent to and everything, and just to build that relationship. So I'm really good with that with my coworkers. So I get along with a lot of them. Um, and I always try to just be genuine with them, if they want
Hmm.
good advice. And so I think because I was like that, it came back to me as like my so one of the coworkers is the reason why I work at Costco too right now. She helped me get into that, you know, and it just really does go to show like the importance of being there for another too, because I would also vent to her about like how I didn't like it there, and she would always tell me like, "Hey, whenever you want to get another job, then like it's there for you. Like just let me know." I was just I was just kind of afraid to start a new job. I just didn't want to go through like starting at the bottom and then working your way up and just doing all that, steps and whatnot. But once my manager started acting up again, I'm like, you know what?
Hmm.
I need, I have these goals in my life. I'm never gonna achieve them if I'm still stuck at Starbucks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I gotta find a new company that is gonna allow me to like use my degree and like
Hmm.
I gotta find out what I want to use with my degree and like
Yeah.
I want to be in management at least, So
Hmm.
it was exciting at least, and I'm glad
Yeah.
I went through with it,
Yeah.
So
But don't be afraid to go somewhere different or go to a different company because one of the best parts about it is, and you get to recreate yourself.
yeah,
Don't like, especially in some of these companies. That's always what I like about going starting a new company. Man, I can create myself in my own image, or I can, say you had issues with employees at one company. You're not gonna have them same. You may not have them same issues with at the new company because you can say, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna be this way. I'm not gonna be that way. That's one of the things that I liked about my current company. Man, I was, and I think it was just the environment. I had became a real negative person.
and
Like,
that's exactly what it
yeah,
was. I'm
yeah,
like, I don't want to be content here. Like, I
yeah,
don't want to be stuck making coffee all my life. Like,
yeah, yeah. So yeah, but man, this goes back to challenge the process. Okay,
yes,
I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, so I gotta, man, I gotta,
I
yeah,
had to make a
challenge,
change.
yeah, Mm-hmm. Look at me,
Yeah.
man. I'm 44 and I'm looking at, and I'm in the same boat you in. Like you know, yeah. I want to
Definitely.
be doing this for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me for number four, I'm taking it back to my and I kind of jumped ahead earlier, but like I said, when I was working at Menards, this little it's like a Home Depot. But man, I couldn't drive the forklift. And a group of employees got with me and taught me how to learn the how to drive a certain forklift. Also, it helped me, but it also helped the team in a sense. When they was busy, I could go tend to another customer that needed me to use the forklift. Because at sometimes it's like Neil will be busy, Julio will be busy, and they need somebody to drive the forklift, and I'm just standing there because I can't drive the forklift. But them taking time out to teach me how to drive the forklift, um, I never forget it, and I appreciate it to the point to where when it was time for Adam to learn to drive the forklift, I taught him the same way that someone put their arms around me and taught me how to drive the forklift. I taught someone else to drive the forklift. Yeah, and I think that's what Ubuntu is to me. Just we helping each other be better people. Because we all are one. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, man.
You gotta teach others how to grow, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
it
Hmm.
makes them better too, not just for
Yeah, man.
yourself, but them
I'm
too.
gonna tell you, man. Get you a hey, listen. Get you a crew. Like get you a like. I'm gonna tell you when you have work, have a crew. I mean, this is my
Yeah.
crew. Man. I'm real talk, man. You will be surprised. I'm talking now. You can't put everybody in your crew, but yeah, man. Get you a crew. People that they looking over your shoulder. You looking over their shoulder. You got respect for them. They got respect for you. You know, and man, your work will be easy. It'll be easier. You need to be a part of a.
In reference to this question for me at least, um, I guess it's kind of weird because kind of paying it forward is in reference to like kind of like your incident, Vernon,
Hmm.
but like on my end of things, like I'm not sure if I told you guys in the past, but uh, like I'm a police officer and I like to and right now I'm kind of trying to pave the way for people that that are in my age range. I just turned 22, so between like uh 18 and 25, a lot of people don't like police officers for whatever reason, and the reason that I became a police officer was because I did a ride along with a police officer, and like he blew my mind, dude. Like it was crazy. Not we didn't go into like any high priority call for service, but he just kind of like explained the job and broke down what he does on a day-to-day basis. And now that I'm in that position, now I'm in the driver's seat, and people come sit in my passenger side and they're like, hey, like, I'm interested in doing this. But then like I see this and like what's the reality, and I kind of break it down from and give them the talk that I was given and kind of, I guess, don't mean to quote the sentence here, but pay it forward, be that person that made me want to do this, for somebody else, and that's what I'm trying to do now. It's been good for me.
Do they still have that program to ride alone?
It at our department we do. Our our supervisor, however, only allows people who are in the hiring process to in the hiring process for any position at the police department to do the ride along. But when I did the ride along, it was open to any civilian.
Oh wow.
So like
Oh,
shit.
it gotta be okay. So you couldn't just I remember when I was in a ride alone, but it was unofficial. It was like I got in trouble and it was taking me home. Yeah, but
No, yeah, you gotta sign a bunch of paperwork and uh like release liability and stuff, like shit if something happens, dude, like shit, you chose to be here, bro.
yeah,
So like I let people know when I get in the car, before I even introduce myself, I'm like, hey, like there's a radio in the car, dude. If I get in a shootout, if I get in a fight with somebody, key up on the radio and be like, hey, Ben's getting his ass beat. And then you get the fuck out of the car and you help me out, dude.
right. No, man. Hey, that waving didn't say I was a police officer. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I actually applied to become a custody assistant like years ago, or a couple like years ago. And then I was like, I'm not gonna. Once I realized what it entailed, I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna be for me. So I gave you a lot of. They wanted us to do a prison, like visit to a prison, and I'm like, yeah, no,
They
that's
was
gonna change me completely.
they was scaring you straight.
Yes.
Yeah, nah. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, nah, yeah. Yeah, that's how I worked. I worked on when I was in high school, we had a program called occupational therapy, and they was moving like, it was pushing us to work like CNAs and RNAs, and man, I did an internship at the Veterans Hospital, and man, I was like, nah, I'm all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, yeah. You got to have a special level of care to do that type of stuff.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. Okay, let me see. Are
That's
we
funny.
done with the first section? Like I said, I like the
Yeah.
TED Talk, man, and I even like the Desmond too. Did you all see the other two YouTube?
Oh, I didn't get a chance to see those
Yeah,
last two actually.
yeah,
Were
Yeah,
they
I
short?
saw optional, dude. So
yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't see it either. Yeah, I just was at yeah. So we can yeah. I see optional. It's like okay.
I said, okay, why are they
On,
in my
yeah,
face?
yeah, yeah. On to the next one. On to the next one. Yeah. But I
No,
may
but
go back. Yeah. If it would have been a TED talk, I would have probably watched it. Okay. So that's we can anything else about part one? About the Ubuntu and what is that? The Desmond Tutu?
I'm good.
Yeah, you know what? What was funny? He said he lived with the guy Boyd. He said he lived with Nelson Mandela. I would have been,
That
man.
was crazy.
Yeah. He
shit,
was like, yeah.
I would
It's
have
like,
had to time everything I had, dude.
yeah,
Time this
man.
napkin, time my plate.
Yeah. He was like, yeah. I looked out my window and I see Nelson Mandela walking across the garden. I was like, man, yeah.
Shit, that just feels that easy, man. Oh shit! I just looked out my yard and I see LeBron James walking outside.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. But you eating dinner with him later too, though. Yeah.
That's funny.
Okay. I guess the second part is the discussion of Selma, the movie. Um, any thoughts on the movie first, or yeah. No. Oh yeah. The first question is just basically you just have to watch the movie.
So to
Yeah.
answer that, I did watch the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the second was write some reflections on the movie. Like I can do this one first.
Okay.
Like I was telling Ben, I stay away from these type of movies, man, because as a black man in America, it's kind of hard to see a part of your past that displayed on top of it triggers me sometimes. But and I had never even this movie came out in 2014, and I just refused to watch it. Like some of the movies about the deep slavery and all that, I'm like, nah, I'm all right. Because like I say, you can get triggered and you gotta and I gotta live in this world. not that world, but I got to live in this world. And sometimes people don't understand that, you know, you feel some type of way from the movie. So I didn't watch it, but I watched it for this class. I thought it was a great movie, actually. I love the take on just centering it around Selma and not so much the whole encompassing part of I'm gonna call it MLK. That's what Martin Luther King Jr. MLK. Um, because I like also where it jumped off from the simple fact that he had already got his Nobel Peace Prize, and he had already had his big "I Had a Dream" speech, and now he was focusing more on changing institution aspects of America, like voting rights. You know, even though the South was desegregated, a large part of the South was still living in that old time where blacks couldn't vote. Um, they still had separate water fountains. They couldn't attend the same school, and yeah, and also I thought that the relationship with him and Malcolm X, which a lot of people don't talk about it, but they was real good friends. But they just, they interpreted freedom from two different aspects. You know, one was more of a non-violent entity, and Malcolm X was more. I wouldn't say he was more violent, but he understood that sometimes you gotta, when being hit, you gotta hit back. Um, Also, I was, somewhat disturbed by the FBI targeting his family, the Martin Luther King, MLK family, and trying to put division in between him and his wife to stop him from achieving goals and things like that. Also, I like the fact that he had when I this movie showed me that he was calculating, and he was learning from his mistakes. Like he had made a reference in the movie that some of the things that he did in Birmingham, Alabama, he couldn't do in Selma because it it wouldn't have worked, and it wouldn't have achieved the ultimate goal that he wanted. Yeah, like I said, I like the movie. I loved it. I'm gonna watch it again. I rented it, so I got like 48 hours to watch it again. Yeah, because I was watching it, and my son was he wanted quesadillas, and so I couldn't really watch it like I wanted to. But I got 48 hours, so I watch it again. I loved it. It was well directed and everything.
I liked how
I thought
the
it's really
professor was.
good.
Jeez, there we go. You were frozen for a second there, Aileen.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if my
Yeah,
connection's like sucking right now. There, no, it should be good now. Sorry.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Venmo. Were you saying something?
Oh no, I like how the professor mentioned kind of focus on what like stood out to you the most, and don't use the voting scene at the beginning. Shit, I turned on the movie, dude. 5-10 minutes in, we're fucking, you know, that like in my opinion, that was like a real powerful scene. I guess like a good hook kind of thing. Where she knows the Constitution, the preamble, like all that stuff, and then just for the guy to be like, nah, denied, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for
He
no
asked
other
her
reason.
the district judges, like, it's 69 district judges. Give me all 69.
She said gladly.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I know we're not, it's not part of my quotes, but I just want to throw it out that I can see why a lot of people used it, whether or not they watched the movie or not.
hmm
It was pretty neat to watch, I guess you can say. Um, 3 or 4 scenes. Yeah, one of the scenes that I also chose was the one that you used, Vernon, the one where the FBI, where they were trying to target his family. They were like, "Oh, we know his relationship with his family is not the greatest, so let's go after that."
hmm
I was like, dude, like that's messed up shit. Like, you can like not stand by somebody's views, or like in this case, back in the '60s, and even before that, like racism in general. But Like you don't go after one's family, you know, like that's just like crossing the line, regardless of who you
Yeah.
are or what you stand for. You know, I feel like that was like an injustice upon him
Mm-hmm.
and a misdeed by the government. You know, trying to find other avenues uh to I guess like defeat his character while not actually trying to defeat his purpose behind why he was doing this in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was dealing with just real quick off topic, real quick. I was dealing with a few members of our community. They were a lot older. They were born in I think like the 40s. They're like in their 80s right now. And like I looked at their card and it was like I think it was like 1942. You know, born in 1942. And you know by the time it was 1960, like they had already been like 18, 19, 20. You know, living through you know the I guess segregated America where you know it was still segregated and stuff. And you know I'd like to know like their perspective, how their perspective has changed from being a little kid to now growing up and seeing like how the world has changed
Mm-hmm.
for the better. Also, you know, that first one, where's it at? It was 32 minutes for the Selma police. Um, I liked how in like it was an hour, about hour 24. He was telling the attorney general that just you know just with the stroke of the president's pen, you know he can make a change in uh in getting the black community to get the vote, you know,
Yeah.
and time after time, dude, they were just trying to like, no, we can't do that because oh, well, we don't know why, but we can't do that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
we don't want your vote, you know, like I don't get it how like you already said, like they pushed the MLK like being the segregated the Civil Rights
Mm-hmm.
Act of 1964, and this is after that, you know, and he still brings that up, like how are we free, but we still don't have the freedom to do what like the founding fathers wanted everybody to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, man, you just yeah. Because that's actually, yeah, man, you just took it right out of my mouth, man, that no, it's no representation. I mean, no taxation without representation. It's like, that was the founding fathers quote. And that's exactly what's happening to black people when they was desegregated. Is we paying taxes and everything, but yeah, we don't have an opportunity to vote. You know,
yeah,
I
dude.
think of more than I think that was the right to vote to me for all people is one of the more profound thing. I mean, um, one of the more profound acts that over the last 100 centuries for me. I understand the civil rights and everything, but I think being able to vote was key because you start to elect people that look like you that had your real interests in hand. And
Yeah, dude. And then can't remember the last one I have written down. Oh, that's not it. Hold on. 1 second here. Oh, it's 32 minutes. Uh when they were outside, I can't remember what building they were outside of, but they were protesting, they were standing up outside the voter's office in Selma and they just started getting harassed and I guess, you know, being told by law enforcement officials that like, hey, what you're doing is illegal. And they're like, no, we're not doing it's not illegal because we're free, you know, it's not illegal and just for, you know, me being a law enforcement officer and seeing that like officers not act by I guess the law
hmm
and their personal views rather than, you know, their laws, you know. I was like, dude, that's fucked up, you know, but you know, I can't picture myself, you know, going through that and you know, I'm glad it changed. But the America we lived in is definitely different today than it
hmm
was back then.
oh yeah,
And it was just, you know, what, 60 years ago?
yeah,
Like, dude,
yeah. That was 60. Yeah, less than 60 years ago.
It's
dude,
crazy.
like that shit's crazy.
It's
Like
Yeah,
crazy.
we like I learned about that shit in history books when I was like 10. I know it's only been like 10 years, but
yeah.
when I was like 10, but like even then I'm like, dude, like even when I was 10, I was like, dude, that was just like my grandpa's years,
Mm-hmm.
like like my grandpa knows all about that shit, but he was fighting a
Yeah.
different battle, but yeah,
Yeah.
like it's tough, man.
Yeah. And then some of that stuff was like where you was born at. Like just imagine, like my mother was born in 1955. She was born in Chicago, but just imagine that she was born in Birmingham, Alabama. She would have still took part in some of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Um, for what I chose, like, for because it's supposed to focus on like 3 or 4 scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one that I picked was right when it's because I never seen this movie, so it caught me off guard like right away when you saw these 4 kids like that bombing scene like
Yeah.
right
Oh,
at the
dude.
beginning. That
Mm-hmm.
was I was like I was not expecting that. I mean I know that they did that a lot and it's so sad to see like that's what had to happen in order it didn't even have to happen like why did they go through that. But to see all that to like in order for it to get to where we are now, like all this trials and tribulations that they had to endure just to like, have their voice heard too, like it's just
Mm-hmm.
very sad. So that's why I chose that one because I know that it happened a lot during that time too. That they try to go after the kids and like these churches, and from when I remember learning about it in history too, like when I was a kid. Um, and then the second scene that I chose that stood out to me was when MLK went to prison and he was talking to I believe his name was like Ralph, and then and he was like questioning things like why are we doing this if there's like a purpose kind of thing, like is it even worth it? And then he gave him that Bible verse about how God like takes care of the birds too, and like you don't see them weeping or sowing, and they're not in their barns, they're out in the open because God takes care of them. And like how much are we worth, you know what I mean, more
Mm-hmm.
than if he's taking care of the birds he's gonna take care of us.
Yeah.
Yes,
i,
sir.
I like that he gave him that. And I like that
Mm-hmm.
um a lot of verses in it. So that was nice. And then the last thing that I chose that really like made me sad and like I was like, dang, it was crazy, was when they did the night march, you know, and then the cops were attacking them, and then the Jimmy Lee Jackson, you know how they went into the restaurant, they were trying to
Mm-hmm.
hide from the cops and stuff, but he ended up dying and stuff. And then I like that the speech that he gave though at his funeral, I thought that was very powerful as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
those are one of my like favorite scenes about from the movies, just because it emphasizes the troubles that they went through and like why we should be there for one another too, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason why they were fighting for this. And
Yeah.
we're all there to have our rights, to vote, whether it's just voting or there's no reason to be divided and segregated at
Yeah.
all. Like, it's just no reason for it. So
Um.
it makes you think, you
Yeah.
know, and
But
just
it also like they say, if you don't learn from your history,
mhm.
you like if you don't learn from your past, you something about repeating it in the future. And we can see right now, man, with so much voter restriction rights, and even down south, like look at Georgia for a great example. Like they restricted a lot of ways people can vote, and Herschel Walker almost won. You know, this like the fight that was happening in Selma is still going on down south in some parts of the country. Yeah, because when it's just hate. When hate is your driving force, you can get yeah yeah you can get a lot of things accomplished. Yeah.
Yeah, I never understood, or I still don't understand, how you said, we gotta learn from our our past to not repeat it in the future.
Yeah.
Like like be like my question. Like I want to go back in time and just like ask like, dude, like why did we decide to divide people based on the color of their skin? Like that shit makes no sense to me.
Oh
Like
no.
it's so dumb. Like you see somebody
Yeah.
just look a little bit different, and you're like, oh yeah, like you're mine. Like you
Hmm.
do whatever the hell I tell you, whenever the hell I tell you, or I'm gonna beat you.
Yeah.
Like dude,
But
like
that
these
was
are
the, yeah.
people, bro. Like
But that's the thing. Like people like race. It's a social construct. It was like we created race. We created blacks, and we created the people back in the, like you say, back in the day created that. That's like race is a social construct that just imagine if we just removed black, white, Mexican, Asian, and just we all identified as just one group of people. I
As
don't think
humans.
I don't think we would have this problem. We would have less problems in the world. I believe, as much as I believe in love, I also believe in hate. Hate gonna manifest. And
Yeah.
on some level, it's gonna manifest.
I think we need to remind ourselves too, man. Like we got to go beyond race. We all bleed the
Hmm.
same. We
Yeah,
bleed the color at the end of the day. You know.
yeah, we actually, yeah, yeah.
And like you said, it is at the end of the day, a lot of even some of the issues that go on today, it is hate. It is an evil. It's an evilness. Like
Hmm.
it's in our heart. It goes beyond the race. It's what's in
Hmm.
our heart. It's
Yeah,
all that to be filled with hatred, and it's
yeah,
disgusting. It's sad to see.
yeah. But what I don't understand is, okay, you got three groups of people. You got people with love, people with hate, and then you got people that's on the fence. Like the people on the fence, I don't ever understand why you on the fence. Make a choice. you know, like you just want to stay on the outside and don't participate in stuff that's matter. You know, or when you do participate, you know, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, stay out of it. Yeah, that's what happened with one of my coworkers. This guy was real quiet. He didn't say anything. Then when he started talking, he started like throwing people under the bus. It's like, man, you should have stayed quiet.
Who
If
put
you're
a
not gonna,
quarter in him? No, I was
yeah,
kidding.
right, man. You should. If you ain't gonna help the process, man, remain quiet. Yeah. He was like, yeah, I've been sitting back for a long time watching how y'all work, and don't none of y'all do y'all job right. He was like, what? Like, man,
Oh man.
yeah. Uh, Anything else about the movie? Like I said, it was, and a couple of tidbits. The lady that directed that, Ava DuVernay, she directed the Marvel movies, Eternals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, and yeah, I remember when it came out, man. It was I just like I said, I hate to say I get like beat over the brow with a lot of these movies like that. Like this came out with like 12 years a slave, and I'm like, man,
Oh,
I want to party. I don't want to be sad. No, but you know, but
I just say though, this I know it's a lot of like history and all, but at least let it be a motivation as to like you
hmm
guys, you guys came from a lot of like a long
yeah,
ways.
hmm
Obviously, so thank God, we're not
yeah,
in that
hmm
same atmosphere kind of thing.
hmm
I mean, I know there's still issues we still gotta grow at the end
yeah,
of the day too.
hmm
But I'm just
yeah,
glad that we're not that divided as we were back then. That's
hmm
just so
yeah.
horrific to see.
Yeah, that's why we make a point. Well, even with my daughter, when my daughter turned 18, I made a point that she understand how important it is to vote
Yeah.
because, like you just, I mean, Eileen, you hit it on the head. Less than 60 years ago, we couldn't vote. You know, so that's why it was important for anything else on that one? On question one, anything else about the movie you all want to talk about?
Not really on the movie. I kind of like how you mentioned, the importance for like your daughter to learn like the importance of voting when she turns 18. Like,
Mhm.
that's the same way that I was thinking. Like like my mom, I had her finally registered to vote for the election of 2020 because that's the first election that I was able to vote for,
Mhm.
and she hadn't voted in the past because she was like, oh, my vote doesn't count anyways. And I'm like, dude, like you're part of a society that says that, and those are millions of votes that aren't being cast just because you think that way. And I'm like, your vote matters. Like you have a say in this country as a U.S. citizen, and
Yeah,
I feel like that's real important that every U.S. citizen should exercise their right,
I
yeah.
maybe the
actually
other people
never
who
voted
want to
until
and can't.
2020, to
Mhm.
be honest. So I'm kind of glad that I started getting into that,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's important. Yeah, it's a civil duty, and it's my problem is the people that don't vote. I don't want to hear you complaining.
They thought
The people that don't vote, I don't want to hear you complaining about why your taxes high, or you know,
any of that.
yeah, you don't have the right to complain if you don't want to take part in voting. Yeah, yeah,
That's true.
and it was pretty cool because it was you know, I walked across our polling place was close to our to our to our house. So, we walked over together and she got the sticker and everything. And of course, she posted on social media and everything. And, she was proud, you know, to be able to vote, you know. And I think, movements like Selma shouldn't be forgotten because, man, that was an integral part of us being able to take something for granted. It's just as voting. Yeah. And
And
we,
it makes sense why he has his own holiday too,
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he was, that was,
Shoot.
Plus we got Barack. We got Barack Obama. No,
Barry.
Barry, that's like, what we was talking, not to take a step back. That's just like, how when the guy say Nelson Mandela was living in his house, that'd be like Barack Obama for me if I if I got up in the middle of the night and he watching Netflix in my house. I'm like, wow. Yeah, that's my man now. Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay. Number three. I'm on the wrong. Oh no, I'm on the right one. It say
Three.
please. Yeah. Yeah, that was
Oh
number
yeah.
two we were just doing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, number three, please also think about the rhetoric, tactics, and logical fallacies outlined below when you analyze the ways racists in the South will use rhetoric tricks, rhetorical tricks, and other fallacies arguments for keeping the African American marginalized. One of the things that I realized is like you said, being early in the movie when um, the original LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson, um, he didn't want MLK focusing on nothing other than um, trying to eliminate poverty in America, and that's a fallacy. It was like, you know what, we see the problem over here, but we're not gonna focus on that problem. We want to focus on this problem. And Martin Luther King was like, nah, you know what, we need to be focusing on voter rights and down south and making sure that the South is truly truly segregated, desegregated. I'm sorry, truly desegregated. You know, um, yeah, that's all I really got to say about that one. That's one of the fallacies that I think that was, um, damn, I had it wrote. That was I think that was an ad hominem attack. Oh no, the red. I'm sorry, that was Yeah, they're red. No, that was red herring. Where they try to change the subject. You know, after you got elected, you told before you got elected, you told them that you was going to be about civil rights and desegregation in the South. But when you got elected, LBJ, you want to focus on poverty. Nah, no. We're gonna focus on desegregation.
Yeah.
You know.
I think the best one too, like you said, was the one at the beginning of the film, where they denied her rights to vote too. I mean,
Yeah.
if they have the right to, then like, why are you not allowing them? And you're creating all these little hard tactics to like make it impossible for them to even get their names to vote, and like registered and everything. Like that's crazy to me. I never realized that was one of the tricks that they would do too.
Yeah. Just
name them all. Are you kidding?
Yeah. But man, and also but you can see growth because now when you get your driver license, you want to vote. Yeah, okay, I get a voter registration card. And just back back 60 years ago, how much you had to do? You almost like you had to go get dressed up to go into a courthouse, and you have to, test to be able to vote.
Yeah, that was crazy to me.
Yeah. I had another example. I got to.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, hey, like I already mentioned, like, hey, like you're free. You technically have all the rights that everybody else has had, but when it comes to voting, no, you don't get those rights.
Yeah.
Like you don't get to pick and choose. Like if like you sign something, the president of the United States signed something and said, hey, like you finally have equal rights that you already should have had in the first place, but you finally have equal rights until it comes to voting, like, oh, we can't let you do that.
Yeah, but that was one of the when slavery ended. Not to get into no history lesson, but that's what happened to a lot of slaves. Is that when they when Abraham Lincoln, abolished slavery, a lot of people that was working in like on plantations, they got kicked off the plantation. They had nowhere to go. So what they do, they start back working for the plantations for lower wages. It's like because they didn't have a contingency plan in place after they got free. They just said, okay, you free. But then when they tried to get out on their own and do on their own, they couldn't get loans from the bank. They couldn't buy property. They didn't have money. So they went back to the plantations.
Yeah, I think we're finally kind of like in the period where like I guess you guys can say that like on the come up kind of thing. It's only taken it's only taken like 160, 80 years, but like to say that like only, but like it shouldn't have been that way from the beginning.
Yeah. But what bothers me the most is some of these nuts. Oh, we got it harder today than they did it back then. Like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Slow down. Man, I live in Chicago. I can go buy marijuana from a nice dispensary. I can go to McDonald's. I can, hey, nah. I hate that argument. Man, we got less freedoms now than they did back then. I'm like, did you ever pick up a goddamn history book? Please. And okay, and I understand there's gonna be some people in this world that just, that's gonna have hate in their heart. But I'm not seeing them every day. And I'm telling you, I drive for Uber, and I see a lot of people, and that gives me hope for humanity. That it's more believe it or not, it don't seem that way sometimes. But it's more nicer people than there are bad people in the world, I believe. I believe it's at least 90% good people, 10% bad people. You just got to be able to pay attention to the 10%. Yeah. So yeah, I hate the argument people say, well, it used to be, it ain't that good now. What? You can watch Netflix.
Yeah.
Man, you can order a pizza and get it delivered, or you can order a McDonald's and have it delivered to your house. The hell are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, bro. People take what we have right now for granted. I ain't gonna say I don't, because I do, but not to that extent where like people are saying like, oh, like I wish I could live in the 70s or I wish I can live in the 60s. Like living right now is not good for me. I'm not made for this.
Yeah.
Bro, like shut up. You
Yeah.
sound dumb.
Yeah. Just imagine the first thing they'll say when you get transported back to the 70s. What's the Wi-Fi password? Wi-Fi. Yeah.
What the fuck is Wi-Fi? What's a
Right. Where's my
computer?
phone? Yeah, you don't have no cell phone in the 70s.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I understand that it probably was a little bit more partying and life was a little bit more simpler, but nah, I'm like, give me, yeah, yeah. We on our computers having a conversation. I'm in Chicago, you all in California.
Yeah, man. Like
It's crazy.
that's crazy, bro. Like even like shit, when you were like 15, Vernon, you think that you'd be on a Zoom meeting with the freaking 22-year-old kid talking about leadership?
Nah, man, when I was 15, I was I was working at a car wash. Yeah, nah. And the only cell phones you had, they was brick phones. It was like only drug dealers had cell phones. we had beepers and pages. We didn't even have cell phones. Like I didn't get my first cell phone till I was 22, 23. And it was from some company called Pramco.
Probably don't exist no more, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, nah.
My sister used to have the beeper.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I used to put used to beep somebody 443-770. That was hello.
What the hell?
Yeah, when you turn like if you put 4377 LO, 770 and you turn it over, when you looked at it, it said hello. Yeah. It was like, yeah, then you had to run to a payphone. It's like, yeah. That was the most interesting thing back then. You had a pager, it beeped, then you had to find a payphone because you didn't have cell phones.
Jeez. Yeah, I can't imagine that, man. Like we still had a house phone when I was growing up, and it slowly we just slowly started to like get away from it. But like we could take it off of its charger and walk around the house,
Yeah.
like even like 20 years ago, like it'd be stuck to like a wired connection, and you still have to kind of
Yeah, man, that
do
was
that.
yeah, we had got a cordless phone, man, and we just was, sitting on the front porch and on the phone, like people ran past, like, what is that? Like,
This the
yeah,
future, baby.
yeah, man. Even the Nintendo, I mean, man, we got a Nintendo, and when I told my mother saved up all her money. We got one gift as a group, 3 people.
Oh.
We all got one Nintendo, and man, I swear, when we went to school after Christmas break and told everybody we had a Nintendo, man, we coming over your house, man. Man, it was yeah. So now I don't want to go back to those times. I don't want to. Yeah. I miss. You know what I miss more than anything? It was simpler though. You got up, put your clothes on, went outside, played with your friend. And that was the best part about it. It just was simple. Like when I woke up in summer vacation, I ate breakfast, put my clothes on, and I went to the park. I didn't, I didn't have to check my check no emails. I didn't have to, you know, yeah. But anything about question number 3? Yeah, I love fallacies though.
Yeah, man.
Once you understand them, most, yeah, that's a good concept for you all. Yeah, if you understand fallacies, and also it helps when you understand fallacies, they help strengthen your argument too. Because I think a lot of people, unfortunately, they they attack your person rather than the argument you're making. You know. You know.
Jeez, man. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch this. Like I said, man, it triggers me sometimes.
Mhm.
Okay, so anything else about that one, about the movie?
No,
No.
man. Yeah, I had never seen the movie. You know, I knew it was a thing, but
Mm-hmm.
I had never seen the movie. You know, I'm glad I watched it. Yeah, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, I'll probably watch it tonight after work again. You know, now that I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing it for an assignment, I can just watch it. You know, and be open to what's going on in the movie. You know, it seemed like
Yeah.
it depicted history pretty well
Mm-hmm.
compared to like a lot of movies about history that they like either exaggerate it or don't kind of tell the true story and only want
Mm-hmm.
you to know what the directors want you to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
Plus,
it.
I like the fact that like I said earlier, it focused on just not his like. Uh, yeah, I apologize for lack of a better term. You didn't get a real origin story of MLK. It's like you didn't see him as a kid running around and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been like a whole 10-hour movie if we would have talked about the origin.
Yeah. So he had already he had won the Nobel Peace Prize, and he was more focused on just a specific topic. That actually, the events in Selma was like a rare hope that spread it across the South. The work that they did in Selma laid the groundwork for a lot of other southern cities to adopt some of the same principles. Yeah. And
You know,
and then yeah. Now go ahead, Ben.
I was just mentioning that Nobel Prize. Like I was watching that scene and I'm like okay, so he got this award, right? But like, how many people in that room hated his guts for getting that award? You know?
Um, yeah, I don't. Yeah, it could have been. It could have. But see, I think they was in Switzerland. I don't know if that was in America though. But I'm
Mm.
not familiar with the the racist views of Switzerland. Nah, but yeah, I could see some people in there having problems with it.
Or
Yeah,
like people back home and they're like, bro, this guy gets it. Like he didn't do
yeah,
shit. Like
yeah,
he's messing up my land,
yeah.
my rights. Like, bro.
Right, yeah, but yeah, yeah. I can see that. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, but I like the fact that they over the last couple of years um they making an emphasis to highlight how important he was, just for not black people, but for just civil rights as a whole. You know, I
Yeah.
think a lot of people don't understand that. He just happened to be black, and a lot of the issues that he was fighting was for blacks, but it helped a lot of other minorities as well. You know. I prefer Malcolm X though. If I had to, yeah, I like Malcolm X. Yeah, I just couldn't see myself taking that nonviolence approach. Even though I am that way now. I don't got time. I got two
Mhm.
kids. I'm not gonna fight no stranger. Yeah, yeah.
All right, guys.
So anything else about that? I think it was a winner chicken dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, do like you did last week, man. That was perfect. Just send both of them links out, and yeah, this I guess we're gonna do this next week again, guys.